Hello Reddit. This story will surprise you, so read to the end. I had a difficult relationship with my wife. Everything I did, she didn't like. She kept telling me I didn't make enough money, that I talk wrong, that I eat wrong, and even sleep wrong. She constantly cited other men as an example. She said that they were much better and more successful than me. Mostly she was talking about my brother with whom I had a bad relationship. As soon as she started comparing me to my brother, I just couldn't stand it. I yelled and cursed and even hit the wall with my fist. When my anger was gone, I said I was going to file for divorce. One day there was another quarrel, and I asked her why she married me. Why did not she go to those who are better and more successful than me? She explained that she loved me. When she told me that she loved me, I was immediately kind and asked for forgiveness. That's how we made up. Most of the fights happened in front of our son. He was always listening to our screams and tantrums. He once asked me why my mother and I were not divorced. I didn't know what to tell him, and just said I didn't know myself. One night my wife came home from work and announced the big news. She said that she had quit her job and had no plans to look for a new job anytime soon. The reason for quitting was fatigue. She said she was tired a lot at work and wanted to rest. I couldn't say anything to my wife against it, and so I agreed with her decision. A little time passed, and I was even happy that my wife left her job. She would meet me every night, and we would have dinner together. Before that, there wasn't enough time to do it all. After my wife quit the job, we fought less. One evening I was sitting on the couch and I noticed something behind the closet. I got closer and saw a pack of cigarettes. Very strange, I thought. Neither my wife nor I smoke. It was too early for my son to smoke, but there was no one else to think about, so I decided to ask my son. When my son came home from school, I immediately started charging him for smoking, but he said he had never even held a cigarette. My son said it so convincingly that I believed him. So I decided to ask my wife. When she came home in the evening from a friend's house, I asked her if these pack of cigarettes looked familiar. She said it was a friend's cigarette. When they were sitting at our house, they lost it and couldn't find it. But I don't remember her friend smoking. It's so weird. Sometime later, I was going to the mall to get some stuff and I saw my wife's friend. We started talking about life and I remembered about the pack. I asked if my wife had returned the cigarettes to her, but her friend said she hadn't smoked in a long time and it wasn't her pack for sure. We said goodbye and I walked all the way thinking about what I had found. Maybe my son smokes and my wife is just covering for him. It's quite possible. But suddenly, a horrible thought crossed my mind. What if my wife was cheating on me? I felt sick at that thought. I decided not to ask my wife directly about the affair. I came up with the idea. I would buy cameras and install them at home. That way, I would have more peace of mind that my wife wasn't cheating on me. I'll install them in every room and keep an eye on her. I ordered the cameras from an online store, and they took quite a long time to arrive. 2 weeks went by and my video cameras arrived at the address. I started reading the manual and trying to figure out how to set it up. When no one was home, I quietly installed the cameras around the house and connected the remote control to my phone. I wish my wife hadn't noticed the cameras at home, I thought. After a successful installation, I was at work. Every 2 minutes, I checked the cameras at home and was afraid of seeing a strange man. I couldn't work in peace. Even when I looked to see that there was no intruder on the camera, I was still anxious. With every glance at the camera, I imagined the owner of those very cigarettes walking into our house. I had already come up with a little plan to teach my wife a lesson. If someone came to our house, I would put the footage on the cameras and then show it to my wife as a proof. A few days passed and I didn't see anything suspicious. I was calmer now and trusted my wife more. Every day after work, I took some alcohol with me to relax after work. My wife began to notice this and suspected that I was some kind of weirdo. We started fighting again. Now, the topic of our quarrels became my constant love of alcohol. A couple more weeks passed, and then suddenly, I saw on the cameras what I was most afraid of. I was checking the cameras not every 2 minutes as before, but every hour. But suddenly, it was as if someone prompted me and I decided to watch the cameras at home. Here was my wife opening the front door of the house for someone. She was dressed lightly, in a simple housecoat, and she wasn't wearing anything else. I immediately pressed the button that makes a video recording from the security cameras. She opened the door and some skinny man walked in. I tried to get a good look at him, but I still couldn't recognize anyone. They kissed, and I felt sick. I couldn't watch my wife cheat on me live. I just couldn't watch any further. I came home from work in the evening and immediately showed my wife the video. She started screaming and accusing me of spying on her. She screamed for a long time, but she was the only one to blame. My son wasn't surprised when I told him that his mother and I were getting a divorce. He asked how could I put up with this woman for so long. I didn't kick anyone out of the house, but left it to my wife and son. I didn't want my son to be left on the street, so I made that decision. As I found out later, my wife started bringing this lover home more often. He also told me that the lover was beating her and taking all her money. That's what he should do. Let her get what she deserves. What would you do if you were me? Would you kick your wife out of the house or leave her the house? Write in the comments.